Hello, my treasures. It's time to show off our knowledge of Shaman with a Mech Shaman. This deck was inspired by Dave Smith's comment on one of my previous videos covering the Replicator Warlock list. He wanted to see if we could do some type of big Mech Shaman list using assembly bots and Tran operators in combination with Shudderblock in order to mana cheat them out really early on. However, I will say this, I ended up scrapping the assembly bots because they just felt a little bit too high cost to make use of. Instead, we're going to rely on Shudderblock tripling the battle cry of either Flame Behemoth to get a bunch of very cheap magnetizing mechs, Tram Operator to discount things like Zilliax down to 3 mana, or Zilliax themselves in order to get 4 copies of this on the board that will allow us to heal us up to full. We can also use the stereotypical play of Hagatha into Wish Upon the Star in order to triple the buff from each of these casts, thus allowing our early game magnetizing mechs to have a lot more stats on them to be able to essentially charge into our opponent's face. Now for the Mulligan guide of the deck. Most important card to actually keep is a Jukebox Totem. This will allow you to easily swarm the board, especially if you have the coin. Outside of this, you're going to be looking for any other early game minions such as Drone or Frequency. If you see a combination of these two, you should be in a really good position. Draw power cards are always great, such as a Knowledge. And finally, things that will allow you to easily remove your opponent's board if you need that, such as Thrall's Gift or Lightning Reflex. Now, with all being said, let's look at some games. Okay, now time for a game against Priest. Let's see what they have in store for us. This might be technically a bad matchup depending on what it actually is. If it's a Reno, then we have maybe a little bit of a problem. I'm going to keep Zilliax just because it's kind of funny here. We probably should have got rid of it, but you know, it is what it is. You never know. Maybe it'll actually come up, right? Or is this going to be one of those people who just ropes until... Okay, I mean, all right. Let's slam down our probably best turn 1 play that we can do in this deck. Oh, we could have coined that out. Priest is a matchup where I'm not like too worried about. I don't know. We probably could have coined it out and still been safe. But I think we should probably keep the coin for later on, to be honest. I'm just going to swarm the board with a lot of individual minions. I will also say this. Thrall's Gift was in here originally for Bloodlust, but most of the time I don't think it actually ever came up, which is kind of depressing to think about, but like it is what it is. Sometimes you put a card in a list and you think it's going to work one way, and the majority of the time it ends up working a different way. It's just a really good consistent way to clear out our opponent's board from either a big minion or anything else, right? Okay, so that seeing Madame Lizelle, I'm pretty sure this is just going to be Reno, which means we're probably going to want to swarm the board as quickly as possible here. We can trade. I don't want to. We're going to do it like this. There's a reason behind it. I'm pretty sure we'll use Flame Behemoth next turn. We could also, I guess, just swarm the board a little bit more. Oh. Well, okay, that makes sense. Oh, Shudderblock. Let's use Flame Behemoth here. This might actually be the game that I really want to showcase just because of the fact that we might be able to get a Shudderblock into Zilliax. That is something that I've been really, really wanting to show off with this deck. I just haven't been able to yet. Kinda sucks though. Let's use Tram. Tram will draw us an additional minion. I want to put down Jukebox. Hopefully they don't, well, let's just go face. I thought about magnetizing there, but sometimes, I don't know. I think that would be a little overdone. The nice thing about this deck is it is quite flexible of how you want to play it. Wish Upon a Star into a bunch of like really cheap magnetized minions is such a good play. It's such an underrated play that I'm amazed someone hasn't tried to make a deck like this before. Maybe someone has, but I don't know. I've been really wanting to do something with some type of tribal synergy, and this just felt like one of the best things that we possibly could do. I'm just going to go face. Now the question is, do we want to be greedy? Oh, well, I guess we don't really have an option. Wish Upon the Star is probably the play. I am a little bit curious if they're going to just wipe out the board, which sucks, but... Okay, I mean, that did get rid of the biggest 2 minions, which, yeah. Oh, Hagatha! Hagatha doesn't do anything right now. Woo! Our behemoth is back up to where it was before. It got hit by that Serenity. I'm pretty sure we probably could get lethal next turn. I will freely admit that as long as behemoth lives. But I really, really want to be greedy, so we might make this last a little bit longer. Well, okay, we no longer have that. Lightning reflexes into spirit. Conductivity. Conductivity could be good. I just don't know. Okay, I will freely admit to something right now. I don't know how conductivity works with an untargetable minion. Because it could work how I really want it to work, where we can still hit that. But knowing my luck, I'm going to... yeah, let's just pass the turn. Oh, okay. Okay, game. Please. Work how I want it to work. I know back in the day this did work, but I think if I remember right... Please work. No! Why? Well... I guess we'll just slam down the minion for free. That hurts so much. The good news is we did make them waste the Reno, and we do have the Zilliax in hand. I guess it isn't really a waste, it's just, yeah. Also, I know this is... Okay, that's interesting. This is like a deck idea that I basically have done. This will be number 4. I expect there to be a set announced tomorrow from the upload, so Tuesday. I don't know what the date of that is going to be. This is going to be uploaded on a Monday, so I'm assuming the set will be announced then. Now, I have no proof of this. It's just people have done the math, and it was, I think they were thinking it was going to be announced this week. That'll tell you like how far advanced we are in recording footage, I should say. Like, this is a game, I'll give you a hint. This is a game that I was playing on Friday before this video came out. So, and this video should be out on the 17th. It dates it a little bit, but oh, great. Of course, they're going to have Light Bomb. They're going to bomb our hopes and dreams. At least we got to show off that combo. That's all I really wanted to do, to be fair. There's a few like combos that I've been like, man, I really want to show off. And that is definitely one of them. Okay, we'll get 3 magnetizing here. I know that looks a little bit strange, but we're trying to maximize like how many magnetic mechs that we can get. Probably should actually put the stealth on the 4/6, but maybe we can cheese some type of other removal tool here. I'm curious if they're going to be running repackaging or whatever. Also worth mentioning, I really do want to get to Silence Priest. I don't know if it's going to be this week. If the leaks were right, then we might see a few cards rotate back in. That could be a lot of fun to play around with, and I'd rather just focus on them until the set actually comes out. But it definitely is one of those things that we'll end up seeing, right? Also worth mentioning, this is also one of those decks that I had a really fun idea for the thumbnail, which is why I wanted to, like, it's a good deck. It's good. Like, I actually felt like this is one of the more consistent decks that I've been uploading recently, which isn't really saying too much because, you know, I've been really memeing. Oh, Replicatinator is funny. I'm very curious of how that works in combination with... I'm very curious how this works. For science, we should choose it. The reason why I'm curious of how this works is if we play down a magnetizing minion after we buff them all up with Wish Upon a Star Slime, we have 4 minions in hand that should trigger it, and I'm curious if it'll give us an additional magnetized minion on top of whatever we're magnetizing, or if it won't do something like that. I don't know if that's going to even matter. We probably will win the game without worrying about doing that. It's such an interesting idea though. Like if it gives, or if it'll slam it down on the board. Like I am so curious of how that will work. That's actually a really note for future self. We should revisit that idea in the future. Probably not in Shaman. I'm thinking maybe like Priest because we can get additional copies of stuff. I also wanted to do maybe Replicator Shaman, not Shaman, Priest, where the idea behind it would have been similar to the Res Priest list, but what we're resurrecting every time is Raw Din, Replicator, and then like you keep endlessly reviving those off of each other and getting additional copies. I think that could be a real fun idea. I don't know if it would be strong, but it would be fun. I never actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I never thought about like how Magnetize would actually allow you to run a bunch of additional minions for Res Priest without having to directly run them. I think it's just GG here, which is kind of sad because we won't be able to do for science because I have a sneaking suspicion they're not going to stick around if we try to do for science plays. Could be wrong though. Ram Conductor, conducting our way to victory. Grab this. Go with Gate. Just trying to overwhelm them with a bunch of minions. I think they've used most of their removal, but they could still have one more AoE. It depends if they're running repackaged or if they're not running repackaged, to be fair. Oh! Oh, that could have been really bad for us. Also, I really do like the idea of what they're doing here. They have Floppy Hydra in here. Oh, GG. Okay, time for a game against Druid. It is so weird to see Cthulhu as a Druid skin. I know I own it myself, but it definitely is one of those things that it takes a while to get used to. I know why it is. It was like a Hearthstone dev's like last hurrah. Let's pass the turn back. Let's use Needle Rock here. Oh. Oh, ho, ho. Probably slamming down Inventomatic is probably a bad idea here. But I kind of want to do it. I know they're probably going to instantly remove it. Oh, Hagatha as a top deck is good. We'll probably slam down Hagatha next turn. The benefits of Hagatha, like it was almost an engine that I didn't consider for the deck because I was like, man, I've done 3 other Shudderblock decks and they've all relied on that engine. And I shouldn't say they all relied on it. They've all featured the same idea of the engine. I think the one with the Murlocs is probably the one that it mattered the least in. It was the funniest of the 3. Oh, I guess not all 3 because I forgot Pro Gamer Shaman did not rely on it. It had Shudderblock, but it was a different strategy. I have another idea for Shudderblock also, by the way. I don't think we'll get to it before the set actually comes out, but I will freely admit, this is going to sound bad. I know there has already been, this will be number 4 for Shaman and Shudderblock on the channel. It's kind of become my Thaddeus for this set, where I keep doing stuff with it. Call for Arrow also is up there. At this point, I think Call for Arrow, I've done 5 decks with the deck card. I could be wrong. Yeah, 5. And they've all been different classes, so you know it is what it is. Sometimes you have some fun ideas with build around cards, and sometimes you don't. Dorian is also a card that I should probably have a playlist on the channel. I tend to try to put a playlist whenever I make a a series of decks built around one individual card, and we might do a Dorian list eventually. I just don't know when that eventually is going to be. I'm assuming also, by the way, getting back to this game, this is probably going to be Highlander Druid. But yeah, Shudderblock, I've done so many things. I want to do like a weapon Shudderblock list where we're trying to resummon the Ogre Gang off of Gang Leader, but we're only going to be running the ones that have a chance to give our hero attack, because one Shudderblock will allow us to have an entire board full of them with King Pud. Do I think that's a good idea? Probably not, but it's funny. We can try it out at some point. I like giving little insight of what I'm thinking about. They probably here are trying to think, how are we getting out of this scenario? Because there are two big... Oh, never mind, never mind. Of course, they had Yogg. I will also say this. There are a lot of decks, especially ones that I haven't really play tested on the channel. But Yogg tends to be a card, as long as we need some type of like AoE. If I can fit it in the list, I try to. Hoping for some type of AoE here. Turn of the Tides won't turn the tides for us in this game, sadly. Though having a 7-11. Oh, I'm going to make a misplay here. We should have got rid of the 3-2, but you know, my brain sometimes ain't the best in the world. We should have got rid of the 3-2 with the poisonous, because if we did, then they'd have to trade everything in. Probably be back in this game. I mean, we are technically in the game. What are the chances that they can actually OTK us, though? Like, this is one of those scenarios... Wait, do we have a rush minion? No, we don't. And there aren't, like, really easy access rush minions in the magnetic pool. I'm actually kind of amazed that we don't have a... I think that's actually one of the things that are keeping mech anything from being super meta relevant. I think this is probably one of the closer ones that you're going to get, because this actually legitimately feels like a better brain. This feels like a better hand buff mech paladin, because you just get so many and then you can magnetize. Come on, give us a rush minion. Rush, rush, rush. None of that is rush. Okay, please do not have the damage. Please. They have 3, 6, 9, 12. They would have been one off. Also, I mean, I guess we misplayed, so they misplay. Leaving up the 7-10 with lifesteal is going to be a mistake that they are not going to enjoy. Yeah, they would have been one off. Pretty sure, at least. Out of all the cards we could have burned, that one actually hurts. We're trying to heal as much as we can. I'm also hoping they do not draw into Reno. We should be alive either way. If they do draw into Reno, they draw into Reno, right? But hopefully they do not. So glad that's only 2. I think we got it. Oh, that is such a nice hit. That is actually something really nice to see. Okay, well, look. I think the Zilliax, as fun as Zilliax would be, I don't think we actually go for Zilliax here. And we might have been able to get lethal, maybe, if I didn't. Well, no, because the Inventomatic, we should get rid of the Dorian just to be safe. And I'll get rid of the Wind Fury just because I also don't trust it. I know, like, in theory, we might have just cost us the game. But what are the chances that they have 30 damage, right? Don't answer that question, because it actually legitimately is probably pretty high. Yeah. And GG? All right, now that we're through the games, this is just my final thoughts of the deck. So I played 20 games with the deck and it ended up with a 50% win rate. The deck actually felt incredibly strong. I was actually quite amazed of how consistent it actually felt. Overall, I do think this is a deck that is extremely flexible in what it does, because there are a lot of very powerful battle cries that you can use with Shudderblock. You're not always going to just want to use Wish Upon the Star as the tripling target. Overall, if you're looking for a way to use some of these underutilized mech cards, this is a great deck to try out, especially until we see the new cards revealed or new set revealed, which should be later tomorrow, probably. Fingers crossed. Overall, again, really fun deck, especially if you're a fan of big minions hit for big damage. And like always, if you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, bye bye.